Hello everybody, Kambing here. Happy New Year. I'm back after an extended break involving me going back home and then getting sick for about a week. But then now that's all done, get back to actually playing StarCraft 2. I figure I'd kick things off by commentating a recent game that I played in the Heart of the Swarm beta. I'm pretty much playing the Heart of the Swarm beta exclusively now. Not much reason to go to live anymore, especially since Heart of the Swarm is a lot more interesting to me. So this is a TvZ I played earlier today, playing against SandCastles here in the top left, and I'm the Red Zerg in the bottom right on Acumen Waste. And so this is one of those games where I'm going to be going Swarm Host because he goes Mech. I was big about Swarm Hosts earlier in the beta, and I had theorized that they're going to work as long as people don't know how they work, haven't figured out how they work yet. And, a couple months later, people have roughly figured out how they work. So, I tend not to go with them in pretty much any matchup other than TvZ Mech. I used to do this a lot in PvZ, and the reason for that was because Protosses were a little too passive in terms of breaking Swarm Host contains. So, it was really easy to set up a contain at their nat or their third. And they'd be a little too hesitant to try to break it, and I'd be able to overwhelm them eventually. And the secret to breaking Swarm Hosts is really understanding kind of the waves that come in and kind of trying to break it with kind of a big punch. Usually Zerg is going to be pushing with Swarm Hosts in such a way that they're going to be trying to build up an ever increasingly stronger contain at the front. So it kind of behooves you to do, I guess it's kind of what you expect, where you don't want to let Zerg build up. So you want to try to break at the earliest opportunity. But what you want to do is kind of cost efficiently break the Swarm Host front line once, or the Locust line once, using storms or sacrificing some units to tank for your bigger units, and then move in and then just take out as many Swarm Hosts as you can, because Swarm Hosts take an absurdly long time to build. And jumping over here, they take 100 seconds. Oops. It's not like Zerg is going to be able to remax them that quickly, so usually what you can do is clear the Swarm Host line to a reasonable degree, force them back, and then get your own map control back, or even just outright kill the Zerg before they can get Swarm Host back up. And so, this TvZ proceeds pretty normally. He went for a fast expand. I'm going to be going for Queen just because this fat ramp and this open area where I usually take my third, I tend to take the side third here, rather than this pocket third, just because trying to make extra links to break these rocks is just a cost I don't have to pay. And it's easy to kind of get zoned out here and not have enough time to kind of secure this off by breaking these rocks. So I just prefer to take this, but he knows it. A lot of Zergs tend to take this early third here. He's going to be trying to block it. He's going to actually block it pretty successfully. But yeah. So first Queen's out for me. I'm going to be starting the second set soon. I'll be attempting to start my third. So let's see what he's doing. He's going to be bunkering up here. Again, it's a fat ramp, so it's really hard to defend kind of this area, or this nat area, from getting rushed early. So the bunker's there to just kind of compromise and say, hey, I'll be able to protect my, my ramp plus my natural. And so, like I mentioned, he's going to be able to block my third, so I'm going to be sitting here. Unfortunately, I only made 2 lings like I usually do, so I have to pull them both back and we'll take care of this efficiently. Which means I'm blind for a little bit, so luckily he started his factory late, but I wouldn't know if Hellions were coming across the map here, or just Marines for that matter. So we'll be taking that out. Queen's laying down creep tumors, around 36 supplies when I take 2 gas. The anticipation is, I'm not sure if I'm going to need roaches or not, but I'm going to take early gas just to be able to either go roaches or ling speed, depending on what comes across the field. His factory is almost finished. Obviously going to be going for Hellions here. A lot of Terrans earlier in the beta would usually try to go Widow Mines off of this, but I think people have figured out that's really gimmicky, doesn't really work really well. You still want Hellions. Especially the new Battle Hellions, they're pretty beefy. So it's always worthwhile just to pump out Hellions at this point, and then maybe later on get some Widow Mines protect against drops or mutas. 2 more factories going down for him, so it's going to be clear. He's going to go in Mech. Pretty soon I'll be sending in Overlords to be able to verify that. I'm going to put down a preemptive Roach Warren, because again, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to grab Lair with my first 100, because I didn't see too much pressure coming across the field. Sorry, first 100, not 200. So here come the Hellions. So I'll be able to hold these off with just my Queens. And I'll be able to get Roaches out in time to be able to stop any extended Hellion harass. I still have my Ling here, so I'll be able to see what comes across the map. If I see more than another pair of Hellions or so, I'll know this is Mech for sure. And so he does something interesting. He takes a really quick third here. And I think this is definitely not standard Mech, right? Usually on standard Mech, you try to turtle up a little bit before you take your third. Well, here what he's going to do is be pushing out with Hellions to try to pressure me and keep me back while he establishes the third out. So 6 Hellions. I see the 4, and I saw the 2 come back, so I know this is going to be Mech now. And my Overlord's coming over here and verifying it, seeing 3 Tech Labs on 3 factories. And so I'm going to do something a little bad here. I'm going to kind of hesitate on these Roaches, just because I don't have an extra wave queued up. You look at my production tab, I have 5 more on the way. So I could have sent these Roaches out to be a little earlier, but get a little earlier pressure on. But here he kind of committed into the third just to check in. I got a few free Hellions, and that's going to signal me to be able to go attack. So I'm going to delay droning up here. So what I've done is 2 Evos for Missile Carapace, and then Infestation Pit for Stormhost. And so I'm going to be able to luckily get up here since his tanks are just coming out. And so with the recent tank siege nerf buff, now you don't have to research siege anymore. This actually shouldn't have worked at all, I don't think. It's going to turn out to do pretty good damage. In the meantime, he's going to come here, he's going to morph the 3 Hellions. And I'm not going to be watching, unfortunately. But luckily, he's not going to be watching either, so we're going to get some equal trades here. And looking at the unit kill count here. I'm going to clean up on my end. His end, I'm going to be able to get a tank and a micro back here to make sure I don't lose my Roaches till the last second. I'm going to be able to get a few more drones. Or SCVs, rather. That's good. Lost mining time. At least that's what I thought. But I didn't realize he had the third established already, so it's not actually really lost. But so he does get to keep the third, which again I am not aware of. I needed this Overlord here, and then this one could be spotting here, and then get ready to go in to double check, just in case the top Overlord died. But yeah, so now we're going to enter a little bit of passivity. I get Locust upgrade immediately, and so what I'm going to do is churning out Swarm Host as well as droning up right now. He, on the other hand, he's going to be going tank Hellion, just because he saw Roaches. That's a safe bet to do. I could be going Muta here behind this. Instead of going Swarm Host, instead just go Muta. In which case he probably would be in a little bit of pain right now. He doesn't have an eBay up. He's only getting the Thors down now, and he's supply blocked. Actually, where is his? He actually supply blocked in a pretty big way right now. Oh no, there you go. So those 2 things will finish up. He's going to try to do some Hellion harassing, and we'll just zone those out effectively with the creep spread. Creep spread being so important in this map. Just to be able to see all the angles from which he could be coming in. So thankfully, because I've had this tower for the whole time, I can see where these Hellions are going. I'm going to be able to catch a few more here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push with what Storm Hosts I have. I actually still don't know the third's up, so he actually is ahead of supply on me because I went kind of a tech-heavy move. But the goal of these aren't to actually kill, but just here to set up and to force him to not be able to just charge across the map. You're going to see here, this initially catches him off guard. My goal is to just keep these Swarm Hosts alive at all costs. Constantly keep them back, or at least keep them sieged up. And you kind of see, on this map, he's kind of forced to siege up there. If he loses this middle ground position, then this base is immediately forfeit. So he had to push up probably a little earlier than what he wanted, but he still has enough siege tanks to hold this off. And so he's going to set up at this ramp, which allows him to zone me out of his third. And because he pushed out, I actually inferred from that point that you had the third up, because at that point, if you're taking the pocket back, there's no reason to kind of stick your neck out this far and potentially lose more unit. So I know he's taking the third here, even though I haven't seen it yet. My concern is about taking the fourth. So I'm doing it in response, and since I kind of have this light contain set up, I'm going to constantly reinforcing with Swarm Host. Like I said, the idea of Swarm Host is to be able to build up a contain that constantly gets stronger, kind of snowballs into something you can't break out of. But behind this, I'm going to get a Spire and a Hive. I'm going to be trying to transition into Broodlords immediately. So I'm getting my fourth here. He's actually doing a sick thing we want to watch. He's going to be dropping. Exactly what you want to do against Swarm Host, and that's something a lot of meching Herons don't do for some odd reason, is just drop. Or go around. Like, for example, these rocks are down, you could actually just go around here if he wasn't going to try to set his own fort. But again, Swarm Host setting up a contain forces these guys to be sieged, and that gives me time to be able to get up Broodlord. And this is kind of around the time where he wants to do that 2-2 push, that usually punishes the Broodlord push. But here, my army is able to hold him back after he gets these Swarm Hosts. You kind of see here, I see the drop. I don't see the drop, I see the drop over the way. It's going to absolutely destroy all the drones here, unfortunately. I do pull eventually. Save most of it, because they're slow Hellions, you actually can't come back very quickly, so that's good. But I tend to do something here I probably shouldn't have done. I didn't split up my army. I said I 1A'd all my melee units back. But I knew that because I didn't have many melee units on the field, and I didn't know when my Hydras were popping. So what I did was I pulled the Swarm Host back a little bit to give me a little bit of buffer. You can kind of see here, this is kind of what I'm talking about as far as punching goes. That drop acts as kind of a weakening thing. And so what you can do is, once you know your opponent's been weakened or pulled back, you can start pushing. And so this is kind of the scary time for Swarm Host transitioning into Broodlord, is stopping this push from happening. You kind of see he has enough units, you can just destroy the Locusts. So what I'm going to do is, my Roaches are pulled back, holding the base. I'm going to be using Hydra Swarm Host to cost-effectively whittle away here. So every chance I get, I'm going to burrow. What I'm going to do is, when I remember, I'm going to send in the Hydras to deal damage to the front line, and then pull back. With the idea that the Locust will be taking the brunt of the splash damage. The effect of him trying to charge across the map and the Swarm Host constantly burrowing, he's going to get caught unburrowed or unsieged. He's going to inevitably lose something. He already lost, a few siege tanks. He's got 2 Thors here, some Banshee. But he's already kind of zoned out my would-be 4th. So this is probably going to be 4th, but luckily I'm establishing a 5th up here. So I'm not too terribly hurt about that. What I just want to do is just keep cost-effectively whittling. I have my Corruptors up. I have the Greater Spire up. It's just a matter of waiting at this point and trying to mitigate all the losses that I'm going to be suffering. So here he's using his Banshees, doing a good job of kind of harassing this base down. But the problem is, the Locust is just kind of chipping away here. They've already chipped down all the Thors, so the Broods are going to auto-win this army. And it's kind of a matter of what he's following up with. Kind of check the production tab. He's starting to produce Banshees, probably going to go into, pure airplay off of this, which is a reasonable thing to do. But the problem is that I'm going to cost-effectively smush this. Usually, without Swarm Host, I'm going to have to do some kind of nasty trade that would otherwise kind of put me even with him at the end. But here, I'm just going to clean everything up with very little cost. I mean, he managed to take out this base. These 2 Banshees are going to be flying in the back, trying to do some damage, but I'm going to send my army very poorly. That was a Banshee that went by. He should be actually focusing on his Greater Spire to slow down my push, but I think the break here drew his attention away. So I'm going to blow out drones, going to save what I can. Base is up. He's going to try to take his 4th. But behind this, what I'm going to do is take out these Banshees, and this army is going to slow push over. And so that's 8 Broods, 16, 13 Swarm Hosts. So it's kind of the endgame composition against mech that I like, which is the infinite Broodling / Locust army. And it's just grossly cost effective. Especially when I get this upper hand here. You can see I'm maxed against 250. So this army's good. So what I can do here is I know I have some corruptors on the way. I see this base going down, and so I can send my ground army there to take it out, kind of small. And I'm going to send the Broodlords here to hopefully take this out. And my hope right now is that he hasn't actually massed too many Vikings. He hasn't yet. If he has, then I'm going to have to take these Hydras, bring them over here, and likely not be able to take down this base because it was morphing into a planetary. That's okay. As you can kind of see here, pressure on at least 3 fronts here. Swarmhost kind of holding the front line, forcing these tanks to be sieged. He's forced to have to break down his own rocks to be able to get out and be able to do any kind of backstabbing. And this just isn't going to end well. Let's see, I still haven't taken gas here. I'm going to retake that base because it's safe now. He's got a Viking that's still kind of hunting. Here's the last engagement. You can see the new Hunter-Seeker missile in play here. I'm going to try to split, but I'm not going to do a good job of it. I couldn't tell which one was red here because red's my color right now. PDD is actually a better use anyways. I'm going to see that this Broodlord split. I'm going to push it up a little bit to save the other Broodlords. But yeah, I'm going to be able to just deal massive damage to his army. Something he can't come back from here. The Broods are going to stop these Hellions from doing anything. I have barely enough Hydras to be able to hold off here. My Remax is on Corruptors. Probably should have just been Hydras, and he's going to GG. So yeah, that's kind of my my current thinking in TvZ mech. Go Swarmhost Hydra, delay the push, transition to Broodlords, punish tanks. And so, yep, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be posting more videos from Heart of the Storm as time goes on. Peace.